Hey, you guys. I wanted to talk about changing it up. I think it's healthy to have a daily routine of things that are really good for you. Um, but I think when we get in these habits of having a daily routine or a daily ritual that we feel a slave to, I feel it takes a part of our soul. And that's why I went like this, because I saw myself in the mirror and I started laughing. So I was like, I look like a fucking alien. I'm like, that's awesome. I'm like, I look like an alien. I'm like, I look like a knight. Like, I look like all these cool things. And I thought to myself, it's been so awesome just like being my authentic self and like not being too concerned about what I look like or, I love getting dressed up. I mean, I love the way I look. I feel very blessed to have certain parts of me that I really like, but I also understand that I'm so much more than that and I have so much more to give than that. And, it's like hair is hair. Uh, I went from having really, really long hair to having really, really short hair once because I wanted to know what it was like. Most of it started because I had a convertible, and no matter what I did, it would get in my face, and I was like, what the like it drove me crazy. And so that is why. That was the main reason why. But then after a while it was like kind of cool to like see myself that way and to watch like my hair has been every color from white to black, literally every color's in there, from white to black. But I have to say I'm at this place now where like I see pictures of people with their hair colored and I'm like, oh, that's so cool. And I'm like, I want to do that. I want to do that. And I will, at some point. Um, but it's also been so cool to just like not have that daily routine of, you know, looking a certain way every day. If you love it, then that's great. Some people love it. They're artists. They love painting their face and painting their hair and putting their outfits together. To me, that's awesome. It's regalia. It's the regalia as a warrior. You're going out into the world. That's how you want to protect yourself. Um, it's very rare that when I'm walking down the street, I don't have people look at me at some point because of the way I walk, the way I dress, the way I look. I'm always wearing a hat, like especially in cities. Um, I like to protect my crown chakra, but I don't know. It's one of those where I'm saying nothing, but I'm saying everything. But I want you to start thinking about your daily routine. I saw that in an episode. I'll find the link and I'll put it on here. You need to watch Aaron Doty's episode, and he talks about what I'm saying. And it just gave me a lot of food for thought and about having certain routines that are really good for us and then other routines that we've just gotten the habit of. And I'll give you an example. I was going through a really rough time about, I don't know, 10 years ago. And maybe it was even before that. But anyway, I was having this really, really tough time and I didn't want to be here. And every breath felt like razor blades. And the only thing that kept me afloat and alive was because I went on medication. I was going through a really, really bad breakup. I was in a really, really bad depression. And so I went on all these different types of medication and it just wasn't good for me. I started to feel really crazy. And they asked me not to drink or smoke weed while I was, letting the medication, like kind of get into my system. So I agreed to do this. And it was the most dangerous thing I've ever done because I was on these medications and they were just making me feel flatlined. But yet I was this prolific healer, but I had no idea. And I was living in Wichita, Kansas. I only had a few people there that I knew and were close to. And it was a really tough time. So because I couldn't wake and bake to escape the world and I was never one to wake up and drink. It just wasn't who I was. I luckily was too much of a control freak for that. Alcohol for me was to just release and let go. And I was waiting tables and bartending. Most of the years I drank the most were during that time. It was about 12 years off and on. And oh, who am I kidding? I drank a lot all the time. Oh my gosh, you should see this awesome spider coming towards me. I'm kind of hoping that she comes right here. I'm like, come on, come on. You know you want to. Anyway, I don't want to get too far off topic, but long story short, what happened was I started this really weird routine because my eyes would open and I'd be like, oh yeah, I'm here. And I just wanted to die. I did not want to be here in this reality. It made me so sick. And because the man that I was with was definitely, we've been in many lives together, like many, many, many lives together. And I could go on and on and on about that. But when we knew that we couldn't do it anymore, and that, like, I think what happened is, this is what I believe. I really do believe this. I believe that we give ourselves a path. I believe we give ourselves in our soul contract what we're supposed to do, where we're supposed to go, what's supposed to happen. I believe that. However, we have the free will when we're here. So I think when some of us are on a really arduous path and we're at a point where we just can't handle certain things, we will pull individuals back into our lives again. They're not supposed to be here with us, but we will find a way. I mean, there are some people that at certain times that I pulled into my life, or I was pulled into their life, where you're like, how the fuck, like, why? That's so crazy. I wasn't even supposed to be there, blah, blah, blah. Some of that I believe is fate. And some of it I believe, like, when you are like, I don't know if I should be here. When you're like, there's a small part of you that believes you're not supposed to be there, but you're having like some amazing experience. I think that is part of that. So he and I pulled each other back together in this life, but I do not believe, I believe we were meant to, but I believe, well, I have a lot of different theories on it, and I don't want to go crazy off topic, because I was actually in the middle of something else and I don't want to keep diverting my attention. But getting back to the daily routine, when he and I realized that we could not be together anymore, and that after 3 years, one of us was going to die because we were stuck in a pattern and it was supposed to be done. So I believe that because we take certain paths, that's what I was about to say a little while ago, was that I think when we take a certain path, we can either, go down it for like a short time, or we can go for a long time. And it's like, we can go through other experiences through it. But if we divert too much, it's like messing with the butterfly effect, right? So after 3 years of being with this person, that was the first person, the first soul, the first light being that I was like, holy fucking shit. Like, that really, we saw each other, like really, really saw each other. The good, the bad, the ugly, all of it. And the sex was like the most phenomenal experience. I can't even talk about it. I actually really miss him sexually. And it's, now that I'm broken up from Edward, it's not something I want to put my sex life out there. But it's only because I don't believe Edward and I have ever had that together, where this, Cody and I, through many incarnations as different, men, women, boy, girl, animals, whatever, we kept pulling to each other and pulling to each other and pulling to each other. And so when he left, when I knew we had to break it off, because I was like, literally, one of us is going to die. Because as much as we fed the light in each other and the goodness and the gluttony and the passion and the love, we were just like, we exuded sparks. We also were dealing with our darkness and our demons, and not realizing then that we are here at the culmination of this, turnover as Aaron was saying today in his show that we're already in the fourth dimension, but we're pulling out of the third dimension mentality. Like, so much fucking resonated with me in that episode that I was like, boom, 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 like ding, 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 like all these lights were going off. And I was like, holy shit. It was really intense. And it's had me going all morning, actually, all day. I've had a lot going on, stirring a lot up, a lot of therapy. I worked in the garden today. I had my hands in the soil and worked on the yard and played with the dog and just tried to like stay as present as I possibly could. But I realized that I'm somebody who battles with a daily routine. But when I have some type of daily routine, it helps me stay in at least some type of steady flow of consciousness. So when I couldn't wake and bake and drinking in the morning wasn't an option, I decided to start drinking green tea because it was healthy. And I went to the spice merchant and got like real authentic, like I brewed it myself. Like, you know, looking back on certain parts in my life and certain parts of my journey, I'm like, man, I almost wish I understand everything happens for a reason, but I almost wish that I had known certain things then, because I'm like, fuck, you know, coulda, woulda, shoulda. But anyway, the enlightened moment that I had with the daily routine was, wow, here I was searching for something, searching for a reason to live, searching for a reason to wake up in the morning, because I would literally open my eyes and start crying because I missed him. And not only did we break up, but he left in the most dramatic way anybody could ever. Like, we were together for 3 years, and when we realized we really had to break up, he was already going to visit a friend in Colorado. And so he told me the night before that he was just gonna stay and kind of like figure things out. And I was like, okay. So I woke up in the morning and he was gone. He didn't say goodbye. Nothing. He was just gone. No key, no. Or did he leave a key? I don't remember now. It was a long time ago. But I knew he was gone. And I ran outside and I looked and his car was gone. And I knew he was gone. And I was like, holy mother of God, he's gone. And I knew he wasn't coming back. And I knew that I was the only one. Like, if it was to happen, I was going to have to be the one. And we still haven't seen each other. We've spoken. We didn't talk for a long time after that. But then we seem to always talk every 6 to 9 months, a year, 2 years. But in the last decade or so, we've kept in contact here and there. But we know this. Like, it's taken us a long time to come to this realization. But we know that we are on our path and we have to, like, each of us is on our journey and we're going through these things. And when I realized that I was alone there, that I was the only one that was going to get myself out of there, that I moved there to be with him, we moved there to be with his family, you know, we were going to have this life there. And when I realized that the dream, the fantasy, like, poof, like blew up in my face, I was like, fuck. So when I tried all these different things and nothing was working, I finally gave in and took medication. And all it did was flatline me. So every day I would wake up and brew this green tea and smoke cigarettes. It was weird. I don't even know who the fuck I was. When I look back on that, I'm like, oh, like I feel so sad for her. Like my whole body aches and hurts for her because the pain and the suffering and the sadness was just, I mean, my mom was like, would call me begging me to move home. I ended up moving back home. And that's when I ended up living with my mom and my stepdad for a year because my mom knew, like, I mean, I wasn't going to make it. I was like, I don't want to fucking be here. She'd known my whole life since I was a child, I always told her I didn't want to be here. And I'd scream and say, I don't belong here. And all these horrible, you know, things. So my mom, you know, I remember one time I had said something or we got into a fight and she just was so mean. And she looked at me and she said, do you know how hard it was to be your mother? And I was like, fuck. I was like, but the way she did it, she was like this rage and this kind of like, fuck you. Because I was like, you're not there for me or something. I don't know. I was being a brat. And she had every right to feel that way. But man, I heard her. You know what I mean? I heard her. I heard what she was saying. And she was just like, and that's why I think I struggle sometimes now with my mom, because I'll be like, you fucking know me. Like, I've always been like this. Like, I've always, like, you know, and I chose this family and this amazing mom that's hung in there with me. She's still there. Like, I love my dad and I miss him. I'm closer to my dad now, and now that we're back into consciousness together. But, you know, I miss having a dad and I can go through all that stuff. But with my mom, I'm like, when she was here, I said, Mom, I think you're going to live to be in your 90s if you want to be. And she's like, yeah, I don't know. We'll see. Like, and she knows, like, my mom's very intuitive for herself. And I realized that. And I was like, we do make our choices. And sometimes a daily routine could be something that keeps us alive. And sometimes a daily routine is something that gives us hope. I guess that's kind of the same thing. But what I meant to say is, or what I really want to convey in this message is that find the daily routines that keep you dialed in to the good. I try to meditate. Well, I'm always in meditation of some sorts. It's hard to explain. I'm always connected in a lot of ways. But there is something else about a daily routine that could be really harmful to your growth and could be harmful to your evolution. So I want you to start thinking about what you're doing every day. Is there something you're doing every day, or is there something you have to do every day? And if you have to do it, like say, like take the kids to school or whatever, or be part of something with work, or, you know, you need to find a way that makes you look forward to it and doesn't make you be like, you know, because I know for myself, I just can't function in that way. It's not healthy for me. It doesn't feel healthy at all. So, you know, having to smoke cigarettes and drink green tea every day until I went to work, and I went kind of crazy about it too. Like, I was picking up shifts. It was like somebody, and I was like so in my own whatever that like somebody could call me at like 3:00 and be like, dude, can you be at work in an hour? I know that sounds crazy. I'm like, yeah. Because I needed to keep going. Between that and selling my engagement ring, I think I came up with like, and my engagement ring was crazy because I could have got like 10 grand for my ring, but I ended up giving it to this woman who wrote me the most beautiful email. And when I met her and her husband to be, and like their love story, like inspired me. And it was so similar to what I had been through. And I was so happy to give it to her. And I said, well, how much do you have? And she said, I have 3,000. And I said, and I just felt good about it. My instincts, I just knew, and I just gave it to her. I was like, you can have it. I was like, I didn't fucking pay for it. You know, I was like, it was 3,000. By the end, I think I had $6,000. So we broke up in May and I moved home Labor Day weekend. So this all is like bringing up so much for me, you know, this transformative time. And his birthday was May 2nd. And, you know, Edward and our anniversary would have been May 17th. I just passed up my 8-year anniversary in the Northwest. It was May 18th. I have so many people I love whose birthdays are in this month. It's crazy. And then Edward's birthday is May 28th, and it's also my dad's death day. So it's interesting to me that even though it's a rebirth, there's a lot of like death there too. You know, we got to let go of that. And like, May is here to remind us when the blooms come out, when we start to blossom. It's here to remind us why we're doing all of this. You know, it sounds silly. You know, sometimes I'm like, why would we invent as a collective consciousness? Like, why would we invent something that we have to decipher this puzzle that's broken up into billions of pieces and gazillions? I mean, you know what I mean? It's so amazing to me. And I'm sorry I have to beg to differ with Aaron Doty, because I'm high as a kite and I reach certain places that maybe someday I won't need it, but man, right now I'm not going to question it, because it's bringing me so much peace and joy and enlightenment. And, you know, obviously I'm using good, clean cannabis, and it's an indica, so it's a thought-provoking medicine. I bring my pendulum with me when I go to the, I don't care what the fuck. I'm in a place where people are buying weed. You think people care if I'm spinning a fucking pendulum around to see which weed I should have? I always ask Spirit to give me clues of which kind. They always tell me. It's super fun. I'll go and I'll say to somebody, I know this sounds crazy. I'll say, this may sound crazy to you, but I'll be like, do you have a non-toxic, organic, blah, blah, and I'll go on this whole, well, they know me now, but and I'll say, okay, I'm hearing blah, 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 and they'll be like, oh, we do. Actually, so-and-so just came in. And then I'll get like my pendulum and be like, yes. And they know me now, like they'll throw down like a bunch of different ones for me to choose from. They'll be like, oh, this one's good. Or, because it's medicine. And it's not for everybody, but it is for me for right now, where I'm at in the consciousness, in this place, in the middle, helping people who are on the other side, helping the humans here, the muggles, while they're going through their awakening. I'm not going to question it. So I have to form a daily routine for me because addictive behaviors that I have and where I don't want to participate, but I do. It's quite easy for me to fall into certain things. And I love being human now, but there's so many distractions in this universe, this world, this dimension and earth right now, whatever, this third dimensional experience, television, all that. We have so many distractions, but how we're getting through it, doing something every day that brings you back into that centered space, into that heart space. I've been having a lot of shit thrown at me lately, and I'm like, fuck, I am the common denominator. This keeps coming for me. I used to say to people, I always had shitty bosses. And then I had this boss, Joy. She was amazing. And I was like, oh, she was awesome. And Joy helped me to like kind of shift my consciousness around that, and Natalie, like, it's like certain things, certain situations will help you kind of like turn things around and see it for what it is. I mean, that whole experience, my gosh, that's where my awakening really boomed and exploded. I mean, I owe them everything, right? So right now, if you can stay in some type of daily routine, something that you really love, that you enjoy, that'll help kind of bring you back to center every day, bring you back to spirit, bring it back to yourself. If you can find that way to bring it back to yourself every day, whatever that daily routine is, as long as it's healthy, then do it. It's okay to have chocolate cake, It's okay to watch a scary movie sometimes, We are supposed to have fun here. Aaron was talking about it today. You got to watch this episode that I'm putting down here. He's really amazing. I argue with some of his stuff, but that's because I'm going through it, and it's my shadow self that's dealing with it too. But it's also a side of the consciousness that I come from that is more of the, kumbaya, like, whatever, man, you do you. So with that being said, I went from I was going to do like a minute thing on, my Instagram to hello, 23 minutes. That is the cannabis. I know that's part of it, but that's who I am, I'm the wandering warrior right now, and I would rather be the wandering warrior that's honest and true and authentic for you. Yes, I'm a poet and I do know it. It's like I'd rather run through these rhythms and be real, because that's how it's going to stick when it feels real. He talks about that too. It's like the more we do things, the more it becomes our reality. We can bend our reality. I've been bending reality like crazy lately. And I'm also realizing all of these things that I need to do. So lots of great things are coming down the pipeline. I'm also, for those of you who have children or know of people who have children, I am going to put together a special show. And it's going to be for children, because I realize that some of the people that I work with, I work with their children as well, and they want to watch my stuff, but I swear, and I talk about smoking weed, and I understand that. Some parents are like, no, man, that's reality. That's who you are. I want them to know that's who you are. And I'm like, cool, namaste. But if they don't, that's okay too. They're going by, they know their children, they know what they can and can't handle, and that's okay. They want their children to see me in a certain light, that's okay. So I decided that I want to work with the spirit animals with children, and I'm going to start doing a series on it. So I would love for you to give me some ideas and some input on that. And if you think that your children would be interested in it, or if you know of other children that would be interested in it, it'll be more of a framed actual episode show, not these like fly by night when I'm like going through my meditations and I just want to speak to you. I'm going to read books. I'm going to do things, because I am very animated and children love it and I love them and we have such a great connection. And I thought about going live and then I thought, I love the littles, but they don't have the energy or the mentality, like I'm dealing with different age groups, I want them to be able to talk, but I don't want them to feel shamed or, so I think recording it's a better thing until I can do it in person, because that's definitely something I want to do. Hi, Ra! Oh, Ra's been coming out like, anyway, I'm having a really blessed day. I'm really excited to see my brother and sister. They're coming up from Portland tomorrow. I'm so excited. I don't even know what to say. It's going to be a really, really blessed time. I am excited to tell you about it and share our medicine with you. Okay, have a blessed day. I will talk to you next time. Aho!